biggest nations are quietly forging an alliance that could reshape the region. Stay till the end to find out how India and Indonesia's growing partnership could challenge global powers and redefine geopolitics in the Indo-Pacific. And don't forget to like, share, and comment on what you think about this emerging alliance. India and Indonesia, two nations with a shared colonial past, ancient trade ties, and a deep cultural connection, are now moving closer than ever before. But why now? What has triggered this surge in cooperation? The year 2024 saw an unprecedented number of high-level engagements between New Delhi and Jakarta. From defense agreements to counterterrorism cooperation, the two nations are working together on multiple fronts. The question is, why? And what does it mean for the world? The connection between India and Indonesia is not new. It dates back over 2,000 years to the era of the Srivijaya and Majapahit empires, when Indian traders and scholars spread Hindu-Buddhist culture across the Indonesian archipelago. Even today, Indonesia boasts the largest Hindu temple in the world, Prambanan, and the influence of Sanskrit in Bahasa Indonesia is undeniable. Fast forward to modern times, both nations have shared struggles against colonialism. When Indonesia gained independence in 1945, India was one of the first nations to recognize it, standing firmly against Dutch recolonization attempts. However, despite these deep ties, the Cold War saw both nations drift apart, with Indonesia aligning more with the West and India taking a non-aligned stance. But today, the tides are shifting again. Over the years, India and Indonesia have steadily strengthened their bilateral ties across multiple domains. The Look East policy initiated by India in the 1990s and its subsequent evolution into the Act East policy have played a crucial role in bringing the two nations closer. So, you're probably wondering, what exactly is the Look East policy? Well, back in the 1990s, India realized that it needed to strengthen ties with its Southeast Asian neighbors, countries like Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Why? Because this region was booming economically, and India didn't want to miss out. So, the government decided, let's look east. Hence the name Look East policy. The idea was to boost trade, investment, and strategic partnerships with these countries. Fast forward to 2014, and India took it up a notch. Enter the Act East policy. Instead of just looking east, India decided to take action. More trade deals, better connectivity, stronger defense ties, and deeper cultural exchanges. This shift showed that India wasn't just interested in diplomacy but was actually committed to playing a bigger role in the Indo-Pacific region. In short, what started as a policy to improve economic relations evolved into a full-fledged strategy that strengthened India's position in Asia. And the best part? It's not just about business, it's also about security, cultural connections, and building a stronger presence in the region. Economic ties have grown, with trade between the two countries reaching nearly $38 billion in 2023. Cooperation in energy, infrastructure, and technology has further deepened their partnership. Joint naval exercises, intelligence sharing, and collaboration in counterterrorism efforts have demonstrated their commitment to regional security. In 2018, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Indonesian President Joko Widodo signed a shared vision on maritime cooperation, emphasizing the strategic importance of the Indo-Pacific. Since then, multiple agreements in defense, trade, and diplomacy have reinforced this growing alliance. With these historical developments, the stage was set for even greater cooperation in 2024 and beyond. A key proof of the deepening India-Indonesia partnership was President Prabowo Subianto's presence as the chief guest at India's Republic Day celebrations in 2025. This was a historic moment, as it marked one of the strongest diplomatic signals of Indonesia's commitment to its partnership with India. Being invited as the chief guest at Republic Day is a rare honor, traditionally reserved for close allies and strategic partners. Subianto's visit was accompanied by discussions on further expanding defense and trade cooperation, making it clear that this alliance is only set to grow stronger. Now, coming towards development. One of the biggest developments in the India-Indonesia partnership is the finalization of the $450 million BrahMos missile deal, marking a significant leap in defense collaboration. This agreement makes Indonesia the second Southeast Asian nation after the Philippines to acquire the supersonic cruise missile jointly developed by India and Russia. But what is BrahMos missile? India's super-fast, super-deadly weapon. So, imagine a missile that can zoom through the sky at nearly 3 times the speed of sound, Mach 3, and hit its target with pinpoint accuracy. That's BrahMos for you. It's a joint venture between India and Russia, combining Russian rocket tech with Indian innovation. Why is it a big deal? Well, it's one of the fastest cruise missiles in the world, can be launched from land, sea, air, and even submarines, and is nearly unstoppable once fired. It's also a game-changer for India's defense, giving it a serious edge over adversaries. Basically, if you're on the receiving end of a BrahMos strike, you won't even have time to react, it's that fast and powerful. Why is this significant? Because Indonesia shares maritime borders with China, and acquiring BrahMos would send a strong message that it is ready to protect its sovereignty in the South China Sea. This military cooperation is not limited to missile sales. In May 2024, the Indian and Indonesian navies conducted the Samudra Shakti military exercise, a joint naval drill in the South China Sea aimed at boosting interoperability and countering maritime threats. Anti-submarine warfare drills, live weapon firing, and coordinated naval maneuvers all pointed towards a deeper military partnership between the two nations. These defense agreements are not just symbolic, they indicate a strategic realignment in Southeast Asia. Apart from military cooperation, India and Indonesia have also expanded their economic and diplomatic engagements. The India-Indonesia Defense Industry Exhibition in Jakarta in April 2024 saw over 40 Indian defense companies showcasing advanced technology to Indonesian officials. Moreover, in January 2025, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto visited India, signing agreements in various sectors, including 1. Maritime security, with a renewed agreement between the Indian Coast Guard and Bakamla, Indonesia. 2. Digital technology cooperation. 3. Traditional medicine research and quality assurance. Cultural ties are also being revived, as seen in the Indian Film Festival 2025 in Jakarta, which brought Bollywood closer to Indonesian audiences, reinforcing soft power diplomacy. One of the most overlooked but crucial areas of India and Indonesia cooperation is their joint efforts in Myanmar. Both nations have stakes in ensuring that the conflict-ridden country does not spiral into complete chaos. As ASEAN's largest economy, Indonesia has been vocal about resolving the Myanmar crisis diplomatically, while India, sharing a border with Myanmar, is equally invested in stability. By working together, India and Indonesia can help mediate peace efforts, provide humanitarian aid, and prevent the region from becoming a hotspot for Chinese or Western intervention. The growing Indo-Indonesian partnership is bound to send ripples across the global stage. China, Beijing will likely view this cooperation as an attempt to counterbalance its influence in Southeast Asia, especially in the South China Sea. On the other hand, the US and Western allies, the West may welcome this alliance as part of its broader Indo-Pacific strategy to keep China's power in check. And other ASEAN nations, countries like Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia might feel encouraged to seek closer ties with India as a counterweight to Chinese aggression. But there are also concerns. While the India-Indonesia partnership looks promising, there are some hurdles. 1. China's reaction. If Indonesia proceeds with the BrahMos deal, will it invite economic or political retaliation from Beijing? 2. Indonesia's non-aligned stance. Historically, Indonesia has avoided aligning too closely with any one power. Will this partnership affect its diplomatic flexibility? And 3. Economic challenges. While defense ties are growing, trade between India and Indonesia still lags behind China's trade volume with Indonesia. Can this gap be bridged? Indonesia, a nation of over 270 million, sits at the heart of global trade. But where do its biggest profits come from? China? India? Or the US? The answer might surprise you. China is Indonesia's largest trading partner, accounting for over $133 billion in trade, 2023. Indonesia exports massive amounts of coal, palm oil, nickel, rubber. In return, China floods Indonesia with machinery, electronics, steel, chemicals. But here's the catch, Indonesia's trade deficit with China is growing, making it a tricky economic relationship. India might not be as dominant as China, but it's still a top 5 trade partner, with trade worth $38 billion. Indonesia exports to India. Palm oil, biggest supplier. Coal. Rubber. India exports back. Rice. Pharmaceuticals. Textiles. But what's interesting? Indonesia has a massive trade surplus with India, making this partnership very profitable. China dominates in volume, but Indonesia profits more from India. The US? A balanced but smaller player. Moreover, Indonesia has officially joined BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, marking a significant shift in global economic alignments. This move solidifies Jakarta's growing influence in the global south and strengthens its partnership with countries like India, which has played a key role in shaping BRICS expansion. But why did Indonesia join? 1. Economic diversification. Indonesia wants to reduce its dependence on Western-led financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank by leveraging BRICS' new development bank, NDB, for infrastructure and energy investments. 2. Expanding trade and investment. Membership opens doors for deeper economic engagement with BRICS nations, boosting trade in energy, infrastructure, and digital economies. 3. Strategic autonomy. By joining BRICS, Indonesia strengthens its position as an independent global player, balancing its relationships with the US, China, and India. India has been a key advocate for expanding BRICS beyond its original 5 members, and Indonesia's inclusion aligns with New Delhi's strategy to strengthen its influence in Southeast Asia and the Indo-Pacific. With India and Indonesia already collaborating in defense, trade, and maritime security, this new BRICS partnership further cements their geopolitical alignment, providing them with greater leverage in shaping regional and global policies. How this changes the global power balance. Indonesia's BRICS entry could inspire other ASEAN nations like Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia to consider joining, shifting the region's economic priorities. China's influence in BRICS. While Beijing welcomes Indonesia's entry, Jakarta's growing partnership with India could act as a counterbalance to China's dominance within the group. The US and its allies may see this as a move away from Western financial institutions, which could lead to new trade dynamics and foreign policy recalibrations. With its BRICS membership, Indonesia is set to reshape global trade, diplomacy, and security policies. As Jakarta and New Delhi deepen their partnership, their combined influence in BRICS could redefine the power dynamics of the Indo-Pacific and beyond. If you ask my take on the India-Indonesia partnership. India and Indonesia's growing partnership is not just another diplomatic alliance, it's a strategic necessity in today's shifting global order. With China's increasing assertiveness in the South China Sea, it's only natural for regional powers to step up and counterbalance its influence. Strengthening maritime security, expanding defense cooperation, and deepening trade ties will not only benefit both nations but also bring more stability to the Indo-Pacific. However, this partnership comes with challenges. China is unlikely to sit back and watch its dominance being questioned, and ASEAN's balancing act could become more complicated. Indonesia, in particular, has always tried to maintain a neutral stance, and aligning too closely with India might put it in a difficult position. Additionally, both countries have strong trade relations with China, and any miscalculation could lead to economic consequences. That said, I believe this is a bold and necessary step for India. If managed wisely, this partnership can serve as a pillar of regional stability, encouraging other ASEAN nations to build stronger ties with India rather than relying solely on China. In a world where power dynamics are constantly shifting, being proactive is always better than being reactive, and this is exactly what India is doing. So, firstly, thank you for watching it till the end. If this video gave you any insight, knowledge, or added value, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more deep dives into global affairs. And let us know in the comments, how do you think this India-Indonesia partnership will shape the future of Asia?